Good morning. Welcome both here in the sanctuary and online to the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg. We're on the unceded ancestral lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole Native Americans. My name is Ben Atherton-Zeman. I am the minister here. I am happy to be joined by Aaron Cassette on the piano, who just brought you that beautiful music, by Todd Wellman, who is leading hymns and is singing our anthem, by Aaron Powers, who is leading our Time for All Ages, and by today's worship associate, Ariana Drew. It's her first time as a worship associate. Thank you for being here, Ariana. Yeah, woo.
Thanks, Ben. Good morning, everyone. If you want a church that believes that Black Lives Matters, that trans rights are human rights, that no person is illegal on stolen land, and that abortion is health care, I have good news for you. You may have found your church home.
Great, thanks, Ariana. We have one announcement today. Our next new member class will take place at noon in Conway Hall. So those of you who are new, this is Gilmore Hall. That's where our coffee hour is going to be, and all are welcome there. And then anyone who wants to learn more for an hour and a half, go to the next hallway. That's Conway. It was originally scheduled from noon to 2, but one of our child care folks has a fever, so we have child care by somebody who's not sick from 12 to 1:30. So all who are planning on spending 2 hours in the new membership class, you get to spend an hour and a half in Gilmore. And you can read the rest of your announcements in the weekly newsletter or in the order of service, including today's insert from the Buildings and Grounds that some of you heard a few minutes ago. Thank you, Buildings and Grounds, for your work.
As Unitarian Universalists, we are a people of diverse beliefs, but we share a common faith, a faith that every person is worthy of love, that what we do in this world matters, that we are connected to one another and to the earth. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here. This week marked the Hindu holiday of Janmashtami, or the birth of the god Krishna. Rosh Hashanah, the first of the Jewish high holidays, begins this Friday at sunset. Welcome any Jewish people, any Hindu people, and anyone else celebrating this week.
And we want to give a special welcome to newcomers. If you're new or you're relatively new, you just wave and we'll wave back. Hello, waving people. I'll go and I'll get a microphone, and so you have till I grab the microphone to decide, am I willing to talk into the microphone and just say a sentence about who I am? It is not required. And then you hold up your hand, and then I come to you if anyone wants to do that. It's always just like, I don't know, do we want to? I don't know, do we? And here we go. Thank you. It's always hard to do the first one.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia. This is my niece, CJ, and my wife, Cassandra. We come from Clearwater. We've been to the UU Church in Clearwater a couple times, Cassandra and I, and this is CJ's first time, so thank you for welcoming us. We're looking forward to today.
Oh, great. Happy to have you. We're big fans of UU Clearwater. Today, my colleague, Reverend Amy, there is talking about Pete Seeger, the folk singer, and yeah, I kind of wish I were there, but I'm here. I'm glad to be here. Anyone else? Peter, you've said hi to us before, so that's it.
Thank you for silencing your cell phones. Regarding masks, we are still not mandating them, but since several in our community have reported being exposed to COVID, we encourage anyone who wishes to wear one. Masks are available at either entrance. Let's take a moment to greet our neighbor. Remember to get consent if you're going to hug or shake their hand. As Nora lights our chalice, please give voice to our shared connections by saying our covenant together. The words can be found in your program and online in the text chat. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now please rise as you are willing and able for our first hymn, Welcome Table. It's number 407 in the gray hymnal.
We're gonna sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. All kinds of people around that table, all kinds of people around that table one of these days, hallelujah. All kinds of people around that table, gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table, no fancy style at the welcome table one of these days, hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table, gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days.
You may be seated. And will any children or young at heart come forward for our time for all ages?
Good morning. So, as our young ones come down, we're going to hang out over here, friends. Friends on the steps, we're going to come over here because we need to be over here. I am not as exciting as Reverend Ben. Yeah. Hey, friend, do you want to stay over here with me? We need to be over here. Hey, friends, do you want to come over here with me so we can I need your help. No? Okay. I've got one friend over here, so I have two. Excellent. All right. So, I need my volunteers to help be a human mirror with Reverend Ben today. And so I'm going to do the first one, but what we're going to do when Reverend Ben comes down, we're going to say to him, "You have something on your face." And then Reverend Ben is going to respond to you, and I'm going to show you how it's done, and I want to remind my friends that we are pretending. Okay, I heard a yes, then we are very visible. Okay, so I'm going to go first so that y'all can see how it goes, and then I want any of my friends up here and maybe any of my friends up front that want to help with this to help us with our story today. All right, so I'm going to go first. Are y'all paying attention? All right. Hey.
Hey,
You've got something on your face.
I have something on my face?
You do.
Oh no! I'm going back to bed!
Okay, which one of my friends here would like to try that next?
You just say,
Okay, come on up.
all right, now come to me and say, you have something on your face.
You have something on your face.
I have something on my face? No, I don't. I don't. Do not.
Okay, which friend would like to try again? Maybe we can help Reverend Ben see what's going on. Who would like to help? Would you like to help, Nora? Okay, say you have something.
I said it.
I have something on my face? What are you talking about? You're wrong. I'm not listening to you. I'm not even going to play with you anymore. I know.
Okay, what other friend would like to help? Who else would like to give it a try? You want to try again? Okay.
You have something on your face.
I have something on my face. Well, you have something on your face. I'm rubber, you're glue.
Okay, how about, we got any more? Okay, come on down here.
You have something on your face.
You must be joking. I am an expert face washer. I have studied face washing for years.
Okay, how about, let's try one more time. Do I have one more volunteer that would like to help? You want to help me out?
Why don't you do one? Wait,
You have something on your face.
really, everyone has something on their face. So why are you even talking about this? I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. It's always going to be this way. Isn't?
All right.
You
I
want
need
to do
help
the
with
final
one
one?
more.
Do the last one. Wait, Ashby, do you want to do the last one? You don't.
You have something on your face, mister.
I have something on my face? Thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that. You know, here's the thing. Can I sit down? So, I've been trying to wash this off of my face with these cloths, but it's really hard to do. It's kind of sticky, and I appreciate you letting me know. Would you all be willing to help me wash this off my face? I need some help. You don't want to? Would anyone be willing to help me make my microphone work?
Yeah.
Would anyone be willing to help me wash this off my face with these handy wipes? I could use some help washing off my face. It is my phone.
Yes. So, and while Reverend
No,
Ben
I'll just wash it.
gets
and you can
himself
watch.
together,
See, it's hard. I need
I
help.
want us to think about being in community together and what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. Which response, with my friends here, which response did you think was the best one? Yes. We have the one with the British accent. So take notes. All right. So, some humor definitely helps. But I think the very last one, where Reverend Ben, took it to heart and, did not maybe say rude things. Sometimes when we are building community together, it's important to listen to other people and what they have to say, even if we don't want to hear it at first. But we do that because it's part of our covenant. It's part of our promise to each other. It is what makes us Unitarian Universalists. And there are times when we need to hear news or feedback that causes us discomfort. But in hearing it and responding to it constructively with curiosity and humility, we can more easily go back to being the beloved community that we strive to be. And this is especially true when it comes to feedback about cultural privilege, race, gender identity, disability, sexual orientation, class, and more, and how that impacts others. This story demonstrates the many ways that we respond, some unskillful, but that ultimately end with one that affirms our covenant with each other. And so with that, our story ends. And if all of our children and youth would like to come up front as we head over to our religious education classes.
Everywhere you may go.
Now we come to the time in our worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. Those of you on YouTube Live are not in this room, but your presence is still felt. Please type your joys and sorrows into the text chat. If you have a joy, sorrow, or concern to submit during the week, please write to Ben at minister@uustpete.org. Right now, William will place a stone in the water for each one that was submitted this week. Our first, a stone of gratitude from John Motter. John was originally scheduled to be worship associate today, but was admitted to St. Anthony's on Tuesday with rebound COVID and severe sepsis without septic shock. He's grateful for the wonderful staff at the hospital and for the well wishes from many of you here. A stone of joy that he was released yesterday in his home, gaining strength and watching us on YouTube.
A stone of joy from Janae Johnson for those who lost loved ones or knows anyone who lost loved ones on September 11th, both at the Trade Center as well as the young people who were sent abroad to fight an unjust war. May their souls never be forgotten.
A stone of concern from Atherton-Zeman for her sister Alinda, who is undergoing medical procedures.
A stone of concern, a stone of concern from Earl Waters and sending prayers for all those who were hurt or killed in Morocco, as well as friends and families.
A stone of concern from Trish Birch, my 4-year-old granddaughter Daisy, who is in the hospital being treated for a brain tumor.
A stone of sorrow. The Morocco was a stone of sorrow. The stone of concern from Earl Waters is for all who are struggling with health issues, physical, mental, spiritual, and more.
A stone of concern from Steve Sanderson, continued concern for politicians who continue to devalue women and their rights to personal choice.
That's all I have.
I have one more. And then a stone of joy from April Cook. I got a new bed and a full night's sleep.
Hey, happy new bed, April. Let's bring to our mind and hold close to our hearts John Motter, my Aunt Lindy, those affected by the attacks on September 11th, the people of Morocco, Krish's granddaughter Daisy, and all who are known or unknown to us who are facing challenges and health concerns. And now we do the responsive reading that's in your order of service online. It's in the text chat.
May our hearts not become calloused by the never-ending incidences of oppression and hatred that so many face each day.
Rather
we may
we
keep our hearts open to the positive efforts
so many people causing good trouble in the world. May we have the strength to demand and gain the right for all people to have a safe place to sleep, health care to keep them strong, and the knowledge that their lives matter.
The struggle is taking longer than it should, but we will get there if we continue to fight for what we all know is right. May all of us find a comforting and compassionate presence in the warmth of fellowship and community.
And William, let's place one final stone for those joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to be spoken out loud just yet. And let's take about a minute of silence together. The mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. So let's rejoice in our beloved community that makes of the many one. So may it be.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Aaron. Our responsive reading today is called Our Journey is to Transform by Reverend Elizabeth Wynn. The words are in your order of service. Online, they are in the text chat. As Unitarian Universalists, our journey is to transform the big and the small, to transform ourselves, and to transform the world. Universalism means no one is outside of the circle of love, and no one is disposable.
No one is outside the circle of love.
No one is disposable.
We stubbornly seek out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what. Interdependence means none of us is truly free until we are all free, and our thriving is bound up in the earth's thriving.
None of us is truly free until we are all free. We struggle for liberation from the violence of white supremacy, sexism, ableism, classism, and heterosexism. Our covenants mean to make promises to our communities, to honor love and justice above all else.
We make promises to honor love and justice above all else.
Thank you. Now I invite us to say the UU St. Pete mission statement out loud. Those words are also there. Our mission is to be an inclusive, evolving religious community that inspires spiritual and intellectual growth to make our world a better place. We bring our mission to life through a wide range of shared ministries: social justice, religious education, pastoral care, and many more.
A few weeks ago, Reverend Ben told me that a lot of people feel as though a minister should be the center of a church, but that really the mission should be the center of the church, and this really resonated with me. I didn't join USP for a minister. I barely knew the previous minister. And I didn't join for the people, because honestly, I didn't feel all that welcomed at first, barring a few people. I joined because I saw a group of people that were causing good trouble in the world, people who were working to improve things in our society, and people who seemed to have the same values as I did. But like with most churches I had been to, I also felt that I didn't quite belong. I questioned if I would be considered one of the good ones, since no one looked like me, if my income was enough to keep up, if my age would be considered a detriment, if having a job would prevent me from being involved, if my neurodivergence would make me too socially awkward. I questioned all the things that made me an outsider inside these walls at that time. However, despite that, and despite not always feeling welcomed or comfortable, I still decided to join because I felt that the mission was more important than my comfort. I'm going to say that one more time because I think it's so important. I decided to join because I felt the mission was more important than my own comfort. Now, even though I felt the mission was more important, and even though I don't think the minister should be the center of a church, I'm thankful to Reverend Ben, because since he's come to USP, I've started to feel less like an outsider. There are more people close to my age. There are more people of color. More events happen after 4 p.m. and on weekends. Nor are divergences accepted. There's just a different air in the church. And that is because we are moving towards truly becoming welcoming to everyone, whether you act right or not. I've also been really focused lately on this idea of disrupting church, on consumer versus citizen, and how this impacts how welcoming we are. And as we move closer to our vote on whether we call Reverend Ben as our settled minister, I've been thinking about how I want to view a minister. Do I view them from the consumer standpoint as an employee that meets certain criteria on a checklist? Or do I want to view them as a citizen of my church community? Someone who is just as flawed as I am, but supports the citizens of our community and helps us work towards our mission. For me, it's the latter. I think to truly welcome everyone and shift away from a consumer mindset, we have to extend that same understanding we give to each other to the minister and the staff as well. As most of you know, I am always bluntly honest when I am up here. And despite my normal optimism, I am worried about the vote. And I'm not worried because I think Reverend Ben won't be called, or because I think that another minister couldn't do a great job. I'm worried that if we vote not to call Reverend Ben, that we won't have a minister at all, and that the progress we have made towards becoming more welcoming will be lost, and that I will go back to feeling like an outsider. Because despite any of our feelings about Reverend Ben, that's the choice we are faced with. It is not a choice between Reverend Ben and some idealized minister that we think might be better. Our choice is between Reverend Ben or no minister at all, because there are not enough ministers looking for settled positions. And we additionally have the added problem of being Florida. I didn't join the congregation for a minister. I joined for the mission, but I like not feeling like an outsider anymore. I like that we are getting close to being a truly welcoming space for all, and I am worried that without a minister, the progress we made will be lost, that we will lose focus on the mission, and that we will go back to saying all are welcome, but only if you act right.
This is a song about someone who used to feel welcome somewhere and can't quite figure out what happened. I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I lead with the worst of me. Give them no reason to stare, no slipping up if you slip away. So I got nothing to share, no, I got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned, On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear as I'm watching people pass, waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? We start with stars in our eyes. We start believing that we belong, but every sun doesn't rise, and no one tells you when you went wrong. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. step out of the sun, because you've learned, on the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping at the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear as I'm watching people pass, waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? It's like I never made a sound. Will I ever make a sound? On the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping at the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear as I'm watching people pass, waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving back at me? Is anybody waving? Waving! Oh!
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Ariana. Oh my goodness. This is the second worship service for our month's theme, The Gift of Welcome. And I'm going to take up where Ariana left off with her very emotional view from the pew. Thank you for that gift, Ariana. There are two ways that today's title, which is All Are Welcome, but you got to act right, there's two ways that can be taken, and one is as Ariana describes it. It's a implication that there's a kind of a stultified, rigid behavioral norm that you gotta do. If you come here, you gotta fold your hands, you gotta sit down, you gotta not dance in the aisles, you gotta dress a certain way, you gotta believe a certain thing. Many of you have told me you left other churches and other denominations because of a similar and usually unspoken behavioral covenant that denies your humanity as a neurodivergent person, as a person of color, or simply as a person. And a lot of churches have signs in front that say all are welcome, but it's not always true on the inside. All are welcome, but you have to believe in our God. All are welcome. We love young adults, but we're going to schedule all of our meetings and all of our important events during the weekday. All are welcome. We love young families with kids, but please don't let your kids make any noise. Kids should be seen, not heard. All are welcome. We love BIPOC people. Remember, that's Black, Indigenous, people of color. But we're not going to sing any music from Black composers. We won't quote from Latinx ministers or authors. We're not going to hire any Asian or Pacific Islander staff. And the only way we'll honor Indigenous people is by appropriating the culture. And our leaders and our cultural norms will remain white. All are welcome. We love gay and trans people. Well, we love the sinners, but what? Hate the sin. Well, here at UU St. Pete, we don't tend to talk about sin at all. But if anything, we think homophobia and transphobia is the sin And LGBTQIA plus people are beloved, are divine, are beautiful. At UU St. Pete, we strive for cultural appreciation, not cultural appropriation. More and more of our leaders, like Ariana, are BIPOC, and white leaders like me are learning to quote from BIPOC authors, theologians, and ministers. Here at UU St. Pete, we believe the sound of children is the sound of beautiful music. And here at UU St. Pete, we welcome the worship of gods, of goddesses, or no God at all. So another way of interpreting today's title is this: yes, everyone is welcome through these doors or up that ramp. We want you here in all your diversity: age, race, ability, sexual orientation, gender expression, beliefs, and so forth. But we do hope you agree to a covenant, not a stultifying, keep your hands folded, overly formal one, but a covenant that commits you to those people around you and to our mission. And in such a covenant, if someone tells you that you've got something on your face, do I still have it on my face? I feel like it's still there. If someone tells you, I hope you will act right and won't attack them for letting you know, like I did to our poor children earlier. I posted a video earlier this week from anti-racist educator Jay Smooth, and he once gave a talk at Hampshire College and compared racism to dental hygiene. If you saw the video, you saw this. Smooth said he wished white people would be less defensive when they were told they said something racist, and just treated it like they were told they have spinach in their teeth. And so rather than reacting like, me, spinach in my teeth, I am not an unclean person, they would thank somebody for the heads up, even ask for help in removing the spinach, if needs be, in removing the racism. They would act right. Smooth says sometimes white people adopt a whole new paradigm, like a tonsillectomy paradigm, when they're told they said something racist. Oh no, I've had my racism removed. That can't be the case. I've been here 2 years as the minister, and only once have I ever asked the board to remove someone from membership, or to consider removing them from membership. Now, this person had behaved in a way that made others feel unsafe, and in one case had resulted in someone not joining as a member. I told the person about the effect of their behavior. I asked them to change their behavior, and they did not. The board at the time unanimously voted to remove this person from membership. In a series of angry emails with me, this person said, "So much for the whole all are welcome thing." But I would argue that sometimes removing someone from membership can be one of the most welcoming things we do. It should not be done lightly. And it can't be here. According to our bylaws, I can't remove someone from membership. Only the board can, and I think that's a good thing. We see the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and every person should have a chance to hear the impact of their behavior despite their good intentions. Every person should be given the chance to make amends, the chance to act right. John Motter's a great example of this. Hello, John. I know you're watching, and I hope you feel better. He once had some spinach in his teeth. John talked about this from the pulpit. Instead of using the phrase black people, he used to say blacks. The impact was that black people felt they weren't seen as people when they were referred to by just the one word. Ouch. Once he was told the impact of his use of the term, he initially felt defensive, but then chose to prioritize the impact of his actions rather than his own innocent intent. I mean, this is a man who has championed racial justice here at UU St. Pete. Using Jay Smooth's terms, this is a guy who's had his tonsils removed. But instead of defending himself as an anti-racist person, John was willing to see the impact of his unintentionally racist behavior. He was willing to act right. There are two amazing young women on our staff, Cheyenne and Janae. And both of them get a lot of comments about their appearance. Ouch. I mean, no one person is trying to make them uncomfortable, but the pattern is lots of people make comments about their outfits, about their hair, even sometimes about their bodies. They tell me about these comments, and some of them have been way out of line, like big gob of spinach on the teeth. Most are just simple compliments with clearly good intentions, but the collective impact on these two young women is sometimes they don't even want to be here in the building. The impact is they question what to wear. They dress up, they'll get certain comments. Dress down, they'll get certain other comments. There's no way to win. I shared this with Lucinda this week, preparing for Sunday, and she said, "Oh no, I just told one of these people I liked her outfit. Am I part of the problem?" And at first I rushed to reassure her, "No, honey, I'm sure you're fine. I'm sure your intentions were good." But then I remembered it's not the intention, it's the impact. And I remembered it's not the individual comment, it's the aggregate. UU Reverend Linda Ulrich puts it this way: if you're playing baseball and the ball accidentally breaks your neighbor's window, you may not have meant it, but you're still responsible for paying for the replacement window. So I told Lucinda, it's not your specific words about their outfit. It's the fact that your comment was one among many. That every day, Janae and Cheyenne hear comments about their outfits and their appearance from well-meaning people like you and me. It gets tiring after a while. Lucinda said, "Okay, thanks. Next time, I'll say something about what they said, or I'll appreciate something about something they created as part of their job." Spinach removed. Cheyenne told me this week, we are more than our appearance. She said we work hard, and we want people to notice that, not just what we look like. What am I doing when I'm wearing these clothes? And when they hear criticisms, it usually is about their job. When they hear compliments, it's usually about their appearance. Ouch. I have plenty of spinach on my own teeth, and one example comes in the form of misgendering. Aaron's pronouns are they and them. Some of your pronouns are they and them. I sometimes get that wrong. Ouch. When I do, as I did this morning, getting ready for this worship service, I put $1 in our oops jar. The staff has an oops jar. Each staff chooses what they want to work on. Mine is misgendering and also swearing while in the office. I can swear at home. I don't have to pay to swear at home. I have to pay. It's here. It can be hard for us to hear when we have spinach on our teeth or something on our face. Some of us retreat into defensiveness like I did with the kids. Or even, we sometimes misinterpret UU theology. I thought you said we could believe anything here. Now you're telling me I have to use they pronouns? That I can't say certain words? That sounds like a creed to me. No one's telling us we can't say certain words. Our covenant, though, asks us to care more about the impact of our words and our actions than we care about the intent. Our covenant doesn't ask us to walk on eggshells, always worried about saying the wrong thing. It does ask us to admit we're not perfect. It does ask us to admit we're going to get spinach on our teeth. During the last 2 weeks, we've examined the phrase, "we just want to feel comfortable." I love Ariana's words, "the mission is more important than my comfort." But I haven't really challenged the comfortable word so much as I've challenged the we. And it's similar this week with all are welcome. Who is the all when we say all are welcome? Because if we accept misgendering in our church, all are welcome doesn't include Aaron. If we accept racism in our church, all are welcome doesn't include Ariana. If we accept sexism and objectification of young women in our church, all are welcome doesn't include Cheyenne, doesn't include Janae. If we accept transphobia in our church, all are welcome doesn't include Gordia. And if we accept homophobia in our church, all are welcome doesn't include John Motter. My colleague, Reverend Joe Cherry, says if we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we, as a people of faith, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. And Reverend Karen Johnston, the author of today's Time for All Ages, wrote a response to Reverend Joe's prayer. She said, when we can take into our hearts the wisdom of that prayer, see with open eyes in a way that makes us very vulnerable, we can move from ouch to thank you. Thank you for the gift of being called out on the impact of our words or actions. Thank you for being given the gift of knowing that we presented ourselves in a way that we did not intend. How many times have we acted thusly and not been made aware? Someone has just not taken the time to let us know. Thank you for being called out to be our better selves. Having an all are welcome sign in front of the church is great, but it's more important to actually be welcoming. And sometimes the most welcoming thing to do is to ask someone to stop something they're doing or saying that causes harm. Sometimes the most welcoming thing to do is admit when we are wrong, be our better selves, see past our intent, and love the person in front of us more than we love being right. And sometimes when one of us refuses to see the impact and continues to perpetuate harm, sometimes the most welcoming thing to do is to ask that person to leave us. I'll close with the words of Reverend Dr. Orlando Brugnola, the former chair of DRUM, the Diverse Revolutionary Unitarian Universalist Multicultural Ministries. Brugnola wrote a prayer called We Do Not Forget Our Innocence, and I invite you to enter into a spirit of prayer or contemplation, whichever befits your particular belief system. As we move through life, finding ourselves always newly wise and newly foolish, we ask that our mistakes be small and not hurtful. We ask that as we gain experience, we do not forget our innocence, for they are both part of the whole. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
We gather together this morning to share of ourselves, to listen to how friends are faring, to provide support to those in need, or get words of encouragement when we are feeling low. We form a community that recognizes that our individual journeys are strengthened when we journey together. For many of us, our time today will give us the sustenance we need to make it through next week. Let's now offer what monetary gifts we can to ensure that we take care of this building, its people, and by extension, the broader community. In the sanctuary, the offering will now be given and received.
Please rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, number 108 in the gray hymnal, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are ringing. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing?
Please, notice when we keep standing. We invite you to remain standing as Ariana extinguishes our chalice. The words to our traditional chalice extinguishing are in your order of service, and online they're in the text chat. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. Now you may be seated for our postlude music, followed by our closing words.
We leave you with the words of John Lou Johnstone called "We Shall Overcome." We shall overcome when we can truly celebrate the diversity of contributions and talents offered by all people. We shall overcome hatred and prejudice and oppression. When we can truly extend our hands to one another in loving acceptance, we shall overcome the past that haunts us now. Living in peace and freedom, we shall overcome the wrongs that have happened and the debts left unpaid. Let us join together in that commitment to overcome. Thank you.